Today we're talking about introverted thinking and introverted feeling. What are these two functions and how do they differ in terms of their hero positioning? So we've got INTPs and ISTPs as TI heroes and INFPs and ISFPs as FI hero. All about that in the next minutes. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So both TI and FI as hero functions are primarily concerned with subjective inner mechanisms. In his original work, Psychological Types, Carl Jung described both of these processes as processes that are really concerned with how one's abstract subjective life looks like. There's various theories, some of them compare and contrast what functions are abstract and what functions are concrete. However, Jung had a bit of a mixture here. And he mainly drew the distinction between introversion and extroversion as the main difference between mental processes and personality types. And more specifically, he believed that introversion is characterized by a higher degree of abstraction. The more one kind of pulls itself, herself, himself out of the object, out of the external world, represented by various different things, the more abstract the thinking or the feeling or whatever the process. So if we are to refer to two of these introverted functions, thinking and feeling, we will notice that they both care a lot about how one's inner truth looks like. The way I like to imagine this is a globe. This globe represents truth. And TI and FI both feed into or out of this inner truth. FI is the one that creates value. FI wants to assign meaning and value to these inner mechanisms, and this is how it creates the truth. So we have the globe and we've got FI feeding into it, bringing emotions, bringing values, bringing personal significance, personal experience in terms of the emotional life, and constantly feeding into this globe, turning it into something that sparks its light in such a way that other people can connect with it. This truth that is created by FI can probably represent some core inner values and moral things that many other people could relate to. On the other side of the spectrum, we've got TI, and the way I like to imagine TI is as a process that goes out of the globe. So FI keeps pumping and pumping and pumping into the globe, creating the significance, and then TI tries to take it apart and tries to understand how this system can be split into various smaller components, how these components interact with each other, and what this whole system means on a bigger scale. So TI will basically take FI works apart, pull it into many different things, understanding into many different categories, and not only that, but understanding what are the main connections between these categories, between these patterns, between these small things that are connected to each other. So yes, we've got types that have FI as a hero function or a dominant function, ISFPs and INFPs, and for them this assigning of meaning into the globe is something that really dominates the way they relate to their experiences, the world, their inner life, and so on. Whereas for those who use TI as a hero function, ISTPs and INTPs, they take the globe apart into different pieces and analyze it, okay, very shortly. But what happens with the other people? Well, we all have both FI and TI somewhere. We both use these functions in different ways at different times in our lives. So it's not like we can only understand FI with the absence of TI or TI with the absence of FI, because all these mental processes are interconnected, they all work together and they all create something. I like to imagine them as this pixie dust lines coming with different colors and different shapes and pulling stuff into the same let's say, bigger picture or the same globe that connects and pulls everything together. So from this kind of understanding, one might wonder whether it's always the case that firstly Fi creates the subjective value and Ti later comes and takes it apart and analyzes it. It could be the case that for Ti heroes, the Fi demon, which is the last function in their stack and something deep down in their shadow, has this inner workings, but it's not something that they can access easily. It's not something that they can bring to consciousness easily, but these things still happen. And then Ti comes and saves the day by pulling everything apart and analyzing it. At the same time, a reverse kind of process might happen for Fi heroes, for whom Ti is the demon function. And then this taking apart and analyzation might come about later in a much more unconscious and maybe less healthy way. Some theorists and some people believe that these opposing functions, like in this case Ti and Fi, they always are completely interconnected and they dip into each other whenever they work. And this kind of illustration that we've had in this video might be one potential way to look at things. The way I also like to kind of represent this to myself is that whenever these opposing functions are at the end of our stacks as hero functions or demon functions, they somehow work together on the ends of these spectrums to keep the things condensed and together, to allow these mental processes to stack in between them while they circle around and create some sort of a balance, like plus and minus onto a battery, or the North Pole and the South Pole. Similar processes work together to keep the mental life and the inner life stable. So thank you guys, thank you a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next week with another video.